Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
A very important meeting took place in Tianjin, China. It was a big event for the world. Three powerful leaders met there. They were President Xi Jinping of China, President Vladimir Putin of Russia, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India. This meeting was the Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO) Summit. Many people watched it closely because it showed something new. This gathering was not just a regular meeting. It showed a big change happening in global power. For many years, the United States and its Western allies held most of the world's influence. They often led decisions and set global rules. But now, a new group of countries is rising. This summit showed that China, Russia, and India are getting closer. They are forming a strong new alliance, different from the old power structures. The leaders talked about many things. Their meeting signals a new time for world politics. It presents a new way for countries to work together. They want to make their own choices without outside pressure. This alliance directly challenges the long-held influence of the United States and its friends in the West. It is a strong sign that the world order is becoming different. Power is moving from one main center to many different centers. This event is a clear signal of a big shift. It suggests a future where many strong nations share power. The meeting in Tianjin was a first, very clear step in this major change. It shows that new power centers are now very real and very important in how the world works. This moment marks the start of a new chapter in global relations. 2. A new group of friends. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization, called the SCO, is an important group of countries. It started a while ago, in 2001. At first, it was a small group. It mainly focused on security issues in Central Asia. This meant helping countries like Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan to fight problems such as terrorism and extremism. Its goal was to make the region safer. But over the years, the SCO changed a lot. It grew from a small regional group into a much larger global organization. Many people now see it as a powerful alternative to Western groups, like NATO or the G7. The SCO's membership became bigger and stronger, showing its growing influence. China and Russia are two very important members. India, Pakistan, and Iran also joined, making the group even larger. Other countries like Belarus, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and Uzbekistan are part of it too. Together, the SCO members are very influential. They represent over 40% of all the people in the world. These countries also control many important natural resources, such as oil and gas reserves. This gives the SCO a lot of economic and political power on the global stage. Its growth shows a big shift in how countries work together. The SCO has special ideas that guide how its members work together. A main idea is respecting national sovereignty. This means every country has the right to control its own land and make its own decisions, without other countries telling it what to do. Another key idea is non-interference in other countries' internal affairs. This means members agree not to get involved in the home matters of other member nations. These principles are different from some Western ideas, which often focus more on human rights or how countries are governed. The SCO offers a different way for nations to cooperate and build a new kind of world order, one based on these distinct principles rather than Western values. 3. Problems in the West. The Western world faced many new problems. Old alliances, which had been strong for a long time, started to weaken. This happened because of big changes in how countries worked together and how they saw each other. President Donald Trump returned to power in the United States. His ideas of America First became stronger. This meant that the U.S. focused more on its own needs than on helping its allies. These policies caused some trouble. For example, President Trump put high taxes, called tariffs, on goods from other countries. India, a longtime friend of the U.S., faced a 50% tariff on its goods. This specific action hurt India's economy and made its relationship with the U.S. very difficult. It showed a shift in how the U.S. treated its partners. Because of these actions, many traditional allies began to doubt the United States. European leaders felt left out of important talks about global peace. Asian partners worried if the U.S. would still keep its security promises. Countries around the world, from Turkey to Egypt to Malaysia, started to think the United States was not a dependable friend. They saw the U.S. as caring only about its own business deals, not about long-term friendships or shared values. This made them look for other partners. China saw this time of trouble in the West as a big chance to grow its own influence. While U.S. tariffs also affected Chinese goods, China's President Xi Jinping used the situation wisely. He presented China as a steady and trustworthy partner in the world. China offered long-term friendships and economic help to other nations through different projects. Unlike the U.S., China did not usually ask for political changes or specific actions from countries in return for its help. It focused on mutual benefit and respecting each nation's independence. This clear contrast made many countries see China as a more predictable and stable friend during these uncertain times. This strategy by China helped it gain more friends and supporters around the world, especially as Western alliances faced growing difficulties. 4. Russia's big comeback. Vladimir Putin, Russia's leader, made a significant return to the world stage. Not long ago, many Western countries saw him as isolated. This was after Russia's actions in Ukraine. Western nations had put strong sanctions on Russia to hurt its economy and make it unpopular on the global scene. But at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO) summit in Tianjin, China, Putin received a very warm welcome. Chinese President Xi Jinping greeted Putin with a red carpet. This important gesture showed that many parts of the world were still ready to work with Russia, despite Western pressures. Putin's visit to China proved that Western efforts to isolate him had not worked fully. He was no longer seen as a leader of a country standing alone. Western sanctions aimed to cripple Russia's economy. However, these efforts did not succeed as planned. Russia found new economic partners, especially China. Trade between Russia and China grew very fast. Putin himself shared that trade between the two countries went up by about $100 billion since 2021. This happened even with Western countries trying to stop their economic ties. This strong trade relationship helped both countries greatly. Russia gained access to new markets for its goods and technology from China. China, in return, secured steady supplies of energy and raw materials at favorable prices. This showed the limitations of Western sanctions and how Russia successfully turned to non-Western partners to build its economy. Putin's growing ties with China and other nations were part of a bigger plan. He aimed to build a different kind of international system. This system would operate with new rules, separate from those set by Western countries after World War II. In this new order, national sovereignty would be most important. Countries would respect each other's independence. Big countries could also have influence in their regions without outside interference. This vision is very different from the Western focus on human rights and democracy. President Donald Trump's policies also played a role in Putin's increased international standing. President Trump had met with Putin and spoke positively about him. This made it harder for Western countries to maintain a united front to isolate Russia. If the American president was willing to engage with Putin, then other nations felt they could do the same. 5. India's difficult choice. India's Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, faced a very difficult choice. He leads India, the world's largest democracy. But his nation felt pressure from American trade policies under President Donald Trump. New tariffs, which were 50% on Indian goods, caused real economic pain. This made India reconsider its close friendship with Washington, a bond that had been carefully built over years. Before President Trump's return, the previous U.S. administration had worked hard to build India as a key partner against China. Groups like the Quad, involving the United States, India, Japan, and Australia, were important for stability in the Indo-Pacific region. However, Trump's America First policies undid much of this work. These changes pushed India to seek out other relationships, making its foreign policy more flexible. Prime Minister Modi's decision to attend the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit in Tianjin was a strong signal. It was his first time at this specific summit since 2018. His presence showed India's growing frustration with the United States and its determination to follow its long-standing principle of non-alignment. India has always wanted to maintain its strategic independence and develop partnerships with many different nations, not just one side. Modi's attendance also brought a special kind of legitimacy to the SCO. As the leader of a major democracy, his participation made the organization appear more diverse and representative. It helped counter the idea that the SCO was simply a group of authoritarian countries. His democratic credentials offered a kind of cover for other leaders who might have faced criticism for aligning too closely with China or Russia. Still, India's choice was far from simple. India has ongoing border disputes with China, causing tension between the two nations. There are also concerns about Russia's relationships with Pakistan, which is a rival to India. So, Prime Minister Modi had to balance these complex factors. His attendance at the summit was a clear message that India would prioritize its own national interests and choose its path carefully, seeking independence in a changing world. 6. Money and power. The countries in the new alliance hold significant power, both in terms of money and military strength. A key part of their economic might comes from the vast natural resources they control. Russia, for instance, has huge supplies of oil and gas. Iran also possesses large amounts of petroleum reserves. These important resources give their economies a strong foundation. They allow these nations to trade and grow without always depending on financial systems controlled by Western countries. This independence makes their alliance more robust and less affected by outside pressure. China is a major economic leader within this group, and its Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, is a clear example of its global influence. This project has seen China invest over $1 trillion in building new roads, railways, ports, and other vital infrastructure across many parts of Asia, Africa, and Europe. What makes the BRI especially appealing to many nations is that China offers this funding and support without often making political demands about how countries should govern themselves. This is different from how some Western aid programs work. For countries looking to develop quickly, China's straightforward approach makes it a very attractive and reliable partner. Technologically, the alliance also presents a strong front. China has made big advances in new areas like 5G telecommunications, which is fast internet technology. It also leads in artificial intelligence and clean, renewable energy solutions. Russia brings its own high-level skills, especially in energy, defense, and space technology. Together, these countries offer many nations alternative technology solutions. This means countries do not have to rely only on technologies from America or Europe. They can get advanced tools and systems while maintaining their independence and national sovereignty. To further show their growing power and unity, a very large military parade is planned in Beijing. This important event will happen on September 3rd. It will display China's newest and most powerful military equipment. People will see advanced anti-ship missiles, very fast hypersonic weapons, and modern aircraft. The parade will be a major public display of military strength. This impressive show of force sends a strong message to the world. It clearly shows that China's military is growing quickly. It tells everyone that China is rapidly becoming a leading military power, capable of challenging the long-held dominance of other nations and protecting its interests. This combined economic muscle and military strength of the alliance sends a clear message. A new center of global power is rising. These nations offer a different path for development and security, moving away from the system led by Western countries for many years. Their immense wealth and strong armies make them a formidable force on the world stage, clearly signaling a major change in global power dynamics. 7. A changing world. The SCO summit in Tianjin showed a big change in the world. It was clear that a new center of power is growing. This new power center aims to challenge the leadership of the United States. Many people now see a real choice apart from the groups led by Western countries. The world order, set up after World War II, is being rewritten. China wants to be the one to design this new order. The SCO has grown from a small group to a strong counter to Western groups like NATO and the G7. This shift proves that non-Western nations are confident enough to create their own global systems. Western countries made some strategic mistakes. They thought everyone would always prefer their way of doing things. They believed that democratic governments and free markets were the best for all. But many leaders put their country's power and economic growth first, not always political freedom. President Donald Trump's return to power has caused more problems. His America First policies and new trade tariffs have made traditional allies doubt the United States as a reliable partner. This situation made China look like a more stable and predictable friend. Western actions, like expanding NATO, sometimes pushed China and Russia closer together instead of keeping them apart. Trying to force countries to choose sides often backfired, pushing some toward China and Russia. European nations now face difficult decisions. They see their traditional friends moving closer to China and Russia. The European Union often talks about human rights and values in its foreign policy. But many fast-growing countries find this approach too strict. They prefer the more practical approach favored by China, which focuses on business and security deals. While European officials criticize issues like human rights, leaders at the SCO summit prioritize economic opportunities and shared security. European nations must now decide how to act in this quickly changing world. The world is slowly moving towards a multipolar system. This means there will be many centers of power, not just one or two leading ones. This could lead to a more balanced world, or it could bring new conflicts. The international system will likely have more parts than it did since the Cold War. But countries still need each other for trade and to solve big global problems like climate change and pandemics. So, nations will increasingly try to be friends with different powerful countries, avoiding commitments to just one side. The meeting in Tianjin was a key moment in this important shift. It showed that the old world order from after 1945 is truly changing for good. 8. The future. The Tianjin meeting was a very important event. It marked a big change in how the world's power works. It was not just a regular meeting, but a clear sign that new strong groups of countries are rising. This gathering showed that a real alternative to Western-led international groups is here. It proved that the world order established after 1945 is being rewritten. The alliance of China, Russia, India, and other non-Western nations in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization is becoming stronger and more solid. These countries are working more closely together in many ways. They control a lot of the world's resources, like oil and gas. China's Belt and Road Initiative also helps them connect through new roads and ports, offering money for projects without many political rules, unlike some Western help. This makes them a strong economic force, changing how global business is done. The return of President Donald Trump and his America First policies played a part in this shift. His decisions on trade tariffs, for example, made traditional partners like India feel pressured. This made some allies question if the United States was a reliable friend. China used this situation to present itself as a stable and dependable partner for emerging economies. Russia, despite earlier Western efforts to isolate it, also found a warm welcome and growing trade with China, showing the limits of sanctions and its pivot away from the West. This growing power and new alliances mean the future is uncertain. There are two main paths ahead. One path could lead to a more balanced world, where many strong powers work together. They might respect each other's ways and find new ways to cooperate on global problems, like climate change or health. This could make the world more peaceful and fair for everyone. However, another path could bring more problems and disagreements. It might even start a new time of conflict. If countries cannot find ways to agree, or if they continue to see each other as enemies, the world could become more divided. This could lead to a new era of struggles, perhaps economic or even military tensions. The choices made by leaders in different countries will decide which path the world takes. The old world order that was made after World War II is truly changing forever. The ideas and rules that guided the world for many years are now being rewritten. The Tianjin Summit was a key moment in this big shift in global power. What kind of world do you think this new global order will create for us all?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.